The bell above the bakery door rang once. Soft, hesitant. A woman stepped in, her coat soaked from the rain, holding the hand of a little girl whose shoes squeaked on the tile. "Mom," the girl whispered, eyes fixed on the frosted cakes behind the glass. "Can I pick one?" The mother smiled weakly, hiding the tremor in her voice. She leaned toward the cashier and whispered, "Do you have any expired cake? It's her birthday." The room fell silent. The cashier blinked, uncomfortable. "We don't sell trash," she muttered. A few customers snickered. The girl lowered her head. The mother's eyes glistened. And from the back booth, a man's espresso cup hit the saucer with a sharp clink. Salvatore Costa, cold eyes, dark suit, the kind of presence that makes a room hold its breath, stood up. "What did you just say to her?" His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The cashier froze. Every heartbeat in that bakery seemed to wait for his next move. What happened next would rewrite everything that woman believed about kindness and fear. Stay to the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Canada's Heartfelt Tales for stories that stay with you long after the screen fades to black. The bakery was frozen in silence. The only sound was the slow, steady drip from the coffee machine behind the counter. The mother's breath trembled as she pulled her daughter closer, whispering, "It's okay, honey. We'll go." But before she could turn, Salvatore stepped closer. His polished shoes echoed against the tile, each step deliberate, heavy with authority. "You call that trash?" he said quietly, eyes fixed on the cashier. "That little girl just asked for a birthday cake." The cashier swallowed hard. "Yes, sir, I didn't mean." "You did," he cut her off. "You meant every word." His tone wasn't raised, yet it carried the weight of something far more terrifying than anger. The other customers pretended to look away, but their reflection in the bakery glass betrayed them. Everyone was watching. Salvatore turned his attention to the little girl. "What's your name, sweetheart?" The girl hesitated, glancing up at her mother for permission. "Sophia," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Sophia," he repeated, as if testing the sound of it. "That's a name that deserves candles and laughter, not shame." He knelt, the lines of his expensive suit folding softly as he reached eye level with her. "Tell me, Sophia, which cake were you looking at?" Her tiny hand pointed toward the one with pink roses and sprinkles. The cake shimmered under the warm light. Fragile, perfect, almost unreachable. "That one," she said. Salvatore nodded once, then straightened. He turned back to the counter, his expression unreadable. "Wrap it up," he ordered. "Sir, it's $42, the cashier murmured. Salvatore reached into his jacket, pulled out a thick roll of cash, and placed $300 bills on the counter. "You heard me. And make it special." The cashier's hands shook as she boxed the cake, her eyes darting toward the mother, who stood frozen in disbelief. "Sir, this really isn't necessary," the mother began, voice breaking. "It's not about what's necessary," he replied. "It's about what's right." The room stayed silent. Even the snickering customers from earlier now shifted awkwardly, their laughter gone. Salvatore didn't look at them, but they felt his judgment like a mirror held too close to their faces. When the cake was ready, he gestured toward an empty table. "Sit," he said gently. "You're not leaving without celebrating." The mother hesitated, unsure whether this was kindness or something else. But when she looked down at her daughter's hopeful eyes, she nodded. Salvatore moved to the counter again. "2 sandwiches. Oh, and whatever pastries you have left," he said. "Now." The cashier moved faster than she ever had. As they ate, the tension softened. Sophia giggled for the first time that day, crumbs of cake dusting her lips. The mother, Elena, watched, her shoulders relaxing for the first time in months. Salvatore sat quietly, his espresso untouched. There was something distant in his gaze, something that didn't belong to the ruthless man everyone whispered about. Elena finally spoke. "Why are you doing this?" He looked at her, and for a moment the hardness in his eyes cracked. Because someone once did nothing, he said. She didn't understand then, but she would. Later that evening, after the bakery closed, Salvatore stepped outside. The street was slick with rain, neon lights reflecting off puddles like broken glass. He lit a cigarette, exhaling slowly, watching the mother and daughter walk away under a single umbrella. From across the street, a man in a dark coat lifted his phone. "He's with them," he murmured. A voice on the other end replied, cold and sharp. "Follow." 3 days passed. Elena didn't expect to see him again. But on the fourth morning, a black sedan rolled up to the shelter where she and Sofia had been staying. "Ms. Elena Costa?" a man in a gray suit asked. She froze. "I'm not." He smiled faintly. "The boss asked us to deliver something." He handed her a small envelope. Inside was a set of apartment keys and a note written in precise handwriting. "3rd floor. Apartment 12. It's yours. See." Elena stared at the keys, disbelief mixing with fear. Why would he? Sofia tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, maybe it's because he's nice." The word didn't fit a man like Salvatore Costa. But when they arrived at the address, the truth was undeniable. The building was clean, bright, with flowers on the windowsills and laughter echoing down the hallways. Apartment 12 smelled of fresh paint and warm bread. The refrigerator was full. The lights worked. There were books stacked neatly on a desk in the second bedroom. Books for a 7-year-old girl. Elena touched the wall as if it might vanish. That night, when she tucked Sofia into her new bed, she cried quietly beside her. For the first time in months, she wasn't crying from hunger or fear. Meanwhile, in a dimly lit restaurant across town, Vincent Torino swirled whiskey in his glass. "Costa's gone soft," he muttered. "You see it too, don't you, Marco?" His lieutenant nodded cautiously. "He's protecting that woman and the kid." Vincent's lips curved into a cruel smile. "Then we've finally found his weakness." The next afternoon, Salvatore arrived at apartment 12 with 2 bags of groceries and a shy smile that didn't belong on a man with blood on his hands. Sofia ran to the door, her laughter echoing through the hallway. "Did you like the cake?" he asked. She nodded eagerly. "It was the best ever." He looked at Elena. "You should eat something real. I brought pasta and soup." "Mr. Costa." "Salvatore," he corrected. "Mr. Costa's the man I used to be." There was a moment of silence between them, fragile but charged with something unspoken. Gratitude, fear, maybe even trust. Then his phone buzzed. One glance at the message, and his expression darkened. "They know." He stood abruptly. "You and Sofia stay inside. Don't open the door for anyone but me." "Salvatore, what's wrong?" "Just trust me." He was gone before she could stop him. That night, men in dark coats circled the building. One lingered by the fire escape, another near the lobby door. A van idled down the street, engine humming softly under the rain. Inside, Elena noticed the flicker of headlights outside the window. "Salvatore," she whispered. But it wasn't him. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated before answering. "Mrs. Costa," a voice sneered. "He can't protect everyone. Not forever." The line went dead. Panic surged through her. She ran to Sofia's room, found her daughter reading quietly on the bed. "Baby, we're going to play a game," she said, forcing calm. "Hide under the bed and don't move till I say." Sofia nodded, trusting. The front door rattled. "Open up, Elena." It wasn't Salvatore's voice. The door burst open. 2 men stormed in, faces hidden beneath masks. One grabbed Elena by the arm. She screamed, kicking, clawing. "Where's the kid?" "I don't know." They dragged her toward the living room, but before they could speak again, the window shattered, glass exploding inward as a shadow moved faster than thought. "Salvatore." He hit the first man with the butt of his gun, the second with a blow that sent him crashing into the wall. "You picked the wrong apartment," he growled. The fight was brutal but silent. Within seconds, Both men were on the floor, unconscious. Salvatore turned to Elena, his breath ragged. "Are you hurt?"